Hello Year 3 and welcome to your next humanities lesson. Today we're going to be talking about the Morrison Shelter. In our last lesson we were learning facts about the Anderson Shelter, whereas today we're learning about a different type of shelter called a Morrison Shelter. The first thing I'm going to do is actually read the information on the sheets today. So you may want to follow along if you've already printed it. It's written again about a boy called Jason and his life. Read Jason's story below. Jason lived in the East End of London in a small terraced house with no garden. Since Anderson Shelters had to be buried in the ground, his family couldn't have one. Instead, they had a Morrison Shelter in the front room. Morrison Shelters were about the size of a dining room table. In fact, his mum put a tablecloth over it during the day, and they ate their meals at it. It's very strong as it has a large metal slab on top with wire mesh around all the sides. When they heard the air raid siren go off, they would crawl inside and pretend they were in bed and try to sleep the raid away. Not much sleeping went on though, with all the noise of the anti-aircraft fire and bombs exploding. Morrison Shelters often survived even when a house was bombed and people were rescued alive from the rubble of their home. Jason thought it was much safer though if they could get to an underground station before the bombs started to drop. Here, thousands of people protected themselves in the tunnels and on the platforms until the raid was over. So that gives you a little bit of information about what a Morrison Shelter was like, what it was made from, where it was kept. And once you've done that, you can hopefully then be able to draw an accurate picture of what a Morrison Shelter would have looked like, and maybe even include some of the things that may have been inside the Morrison Shelter. And then there are also 4 questions to answer about the activity. The information will be in the text that I've just read. So see if you can answer those 4 questions about Morrison Shelters. The one final task at the bottom is asking you to think of the advantages and disadvantages of a Morrison Shelter and an Anderson Shelter. The advantages means the things that are good about it, and the disadvantages are the things that were bad about it. So for example, I might say that an advantage, something good about a Morrison Shelter, is that it is warm because it was kept inside. So an advantage of a Morrison Shelter could be it was warm. Again, whereas a disadvantage of a Morrison Shelter could be that it was very cramped. There wasn't very much room. So think of maybe 2 or 3 good things and 2 or 3 bad things about a Morrison Shelter and an Anderson Shelter if you have time. Thank you for watching Year 3. I look forward to seeing your work.